The right extreme is growing has been an interesting view for many non-Americans, as how you can see a nation fall hands in fascism. The alt-right have been trying to rebuild the American dream with isolation policies and mass deportations. These policies hurt the American economy, since many European Americans don't want to work jobs like picking crops or mopping the floor of a mall. These jobs are often done by African Americans or other minorities that are seen by the alt-right as non-Americans. The Democratic Party has realized that the new left liberal ideas are working into this society and finding their place without the active help of the Democratic Party. They became lazy in their work and changed their core voters from lower-class individuals to middle-class workers who have more money to spend for their policies. The lower class was forgotten and in the last minute changed their voters to Trump. The internalized segregation of the public of America has led places where there are a majority of black people, where other places have a high majority of white people. This leads politics actively help more out the cities with more white people than the areas and cities with the majority of black people, which then caused slums and high crime, aka unregistered ghettos. If you know the history behind Martin Luther King and the history concept of ghettos, then you may understand the context of unregistered ghettos a little bit more. And when these areas asked for help, were they brushed off and said that this is capitalism and that you should pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and that also the policies of the segregation are over, which means there is no racism in America anymore. So you are not the victim but just a black person doing crime and using the victim card. And this means that we, not me, the writer, but the alt-right are correct that blacks and majorities are unwashed and unfamiliar with our American culture of peace. The Democratic Party tried to break this internalized segregation of the European American people with DEI and prioritize minorities' prosperity more than European Americans' prosperity. Or it looked like that for a lot of right-wing folks. Even if capitalism was perfect in America and everybody would profit of it, would people stay with their skin color together and minorities would not be having any reputation in the media or in public. So they tried to fix that with DEI and prioritizing minorities' representation. These policies of creating a system where a person is looked upon their skin and get treated differently if you are a black person or a minority. This concept sounds wrong, but the Democratic Party didn't do it for racism, but to actually fight against it, to force people to be confronted with the views of different kinds of people who, by the way, they're never met. This system, in the end, works because you get to meet people with different skin colors as you, and you soon learn that people with different skin colors are just, in the end, just people. This system is fundamentally wrong, but yet it does what it should do. With this view of the Democratic Party viewing minorities and black people more than the majority of the country has led the extremist view of the Republican Party, aka mass deportations and other fucked up shit, like checking the pants of minors without the permission of the parent. And the media continues with these rhetorics that the right-wing people are friendly and the left is criminal and aggressive, even though study shows that it's quite the opposite, which makes sense since right-wing was always throughout history about personal opinions and own rights over other people, while meanwhile left-wing was always about living together regardless of gender or skin color, aka what conservatives see as communism, because of the paranoia of the Cold War and the impending doom of nuclear holocaust. Which, by the way, the American government enjoyed to fuel this narrative, because a paranoid watcher or walker as an addicted and efficient worker and watcher. Now the narrative is so common that a mental ill moron who believes those things is now the president. Yeah, you fucking voted for a fucking moron. You stupid. Because people tell those lies over and over again, that people stopped arguing against it, because the people themselves told these lies over again, that they themselves started to believe it themselves. Guess why the president thinks the way he thinks. Guess why nothing really good happened so far. Food is still expensive, the Ukraine war is still going on, and the mass deportations are not deporting drug dealers, but African American workers, which hurts the economy. And the president really thinks this is helping, even though it doesn't. He is who he hates the most, an arrogant little man who has no real personality, only his elite money and his golf. One of the reasons why he plays it so much. He is behaving like a dictator because he is one. What the future will be with America is unknown, but the conservative European American people are left with nothing else than hatred. What Trump and his people will do will be seen as a crime against humanity in the history books. The only question that is left is how far will he go, and how far want the conservative mainstream media and the watchers of that wanna go. It will be a disaster for their American image through the world and the history books, more than a disaster now.